Welcome to this New York Tech training session on the Microsoft information security tools employed by the university to keep data safe and secure. This video will guide you through the New York Tech Data Classification Matrix, how to apply sensitivity labels to files and emails, how DLP automatically identifies and protects sensitive data, and how these protections work alongside Copilot for secure productivity. Whether you're working in Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or using Microsoft Copilot, protecting sensitive information is both a responsibility and a necessity. The Data Classification Matrix is a structured framework used at New York Tech to categorize institutional data based on its sensitivity, regulatory requirements, and potential impact if exposed. This matrix helps ensure that all data, whether academic records, research data, or administrative documents, is handled with the appropriate level of protection. This data is classified into three categories. Public, information intended for public release, such as press releases, published research, or marketing materials. Restricted, data meant for use within New York Tech, but not intended for public consumption, such as internal memos, staff directories, and general communications. And confidential, the highest level of data sensitivity, covering material whose exposure could result in significant legal, reputational, or operational harm. This includes personally identifiable information, PII, protected health information, PHI, or unannounced financial results. Proper classification ensures that New York Tech complies with regulatory requirements, such as FERPA, HIPAA, and GDPR, and maintains institutional trust. Tags help employees and students recognize the sensitivity of data and apply suitable controls for sharing, storing, and processing information. Sensitivity labels in O365 aren't just about compliance. They make your work easier and safer. By applying a sensitivity label, you protect data automatically. Labels can trigger built-in protections like encryption, watermarking, or access restrictions without requiring extra steps. Prevent mistakes. A quick glance at a label reminds you and others how sensitive the file is, reducing the risk of accidental oversharing. Enable secure collaboration. Labels help ensure that when you share files or emails, only the right people can view or edit them. Integrate with Copilot. Since Copilot respects these labels, applying them ensures AI-powered features operate securely and within compliance boundaries. Using sensitivity labels is an easy way to balance productivity with responsibility, giving you peace of mind that your documents and communications are handled correctly. Data Loss Prevention, or DLP, is a Microsoft security solution tool that automatically identifies and helps prevent unsafe or inappropriate sharing, transfer, or use of sensitive data. DLP works quietly in the background across all Microsoft products, such as Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, and Copilot, to stop sensitive data from leaving New York Tech's secure environment. Even if a file or email isn't manually tagged, DLP automatically detects and blocks transmission of protected data like PII or PHI. Personally Identifiable Information, or PII, refers to any data that can identify a specific individual, either directly or when combined with other information. There are two main types. Direct identifiers instantly reveal someone's identity, such as a social security number or driver's license number. Indirect identifiers identify someone only when paired with other data, such as a date of birth combined with a location. Examples of PII include unique identifiers, social security numbers, passport numbers, or other government-issued IDs. Biometric data, fingerprints, facial recognition, or iris scans. Financial information, bank account or credit card numbers. Medical and health records, health histories or insurance details. Personal details, information like a mother's maiden name used for identity verification. Protected health information, or PHI, refers to any individually identifiable health information connected to a person's health status, healthcare services, or payment for care. PHI is protected under HIPAA privacy and security rules, which require strict confidentiality to prevent breaches and maintain patient trust. Examples of PHI include medical records, diagnoses, treatment histories, test results, and conditions, demographic information, names, addresses, birth dates, and social security numbers, insurance information, policy numbers, billing details, and claims data, other identifiers, phone numbers, medical record numbers, biometric identifiers, or unique web URLs. DLP continuously scans for these types of data and automatically prevents them from being shared or transmitted in unsafe ways, such as emailing a spreadsheet that includes SSNs or uploading medical data to a public folder. In other words, even if you forget to tag your document, DLP still protects it. Now let's review how the sensitivity labels behave under the latest update. I'll describe each label and what happens when you apply it. And remember, DLP remains in effect at all times and will block PII and PHI regardless of labels. Sensitivity labels are protections that you choose to apply that work together with DLP. No label, the default. By default, there is no label action applied. This default setting is available across all Microsoft products. Even with no label, DLP protections remain active, so PII and PHI will still be blocked from unsafe sharing. Public. The public label does not apply extra enforcement actions by itself and is available across Microsoft products. It's intended for content safe for public release. As with no label, PII and PHI remain blocked by DLP. Restricted. The restricted label applies additional protections. For email, restricted messages are encrypted and are set to Do Not Forward, and copying or taking screenshots of text is disabled. In Word, Excel, and PowerPoint desktop apps, restricted content will prompt the user to specify explicit sharing permissions before the file can be shared or moved. Additionally, for services where Copilot can act on content, Copilot responses will be blocked for restricted content in email, Teams, and OneDrive to prevent sensitive content from being processed or shared by the AI. And again, if PII or PHI is present, DLP still prevents unsafe transmission. Confidential. Confidential is the strictest label. For email, confidential content will block email transmission entirely if the action would violate policy. The presence of confidential information in an email will also disable copying and taking screenshots of the text. In Word, Excel, and PowerPoint desktop apps, confidential files will be blocked from storage or sharing to unauthorized locations or users. Copilot responses are also blocked for confidential content in email, Teams, and OneDrive. As with every label, DLP enforces an additional layer of protection for PII and PHI. Put simply, labels add the intended protection behaviors and user prompts. DLP actively scans and will block PII and PHI whether a label is present or not. Currently, sensitivity label features are available exclusively on the desktop versions of Microsoft Word and Excel. If you are accessing documents through a web browser or mobile app, you will not be able to select the sensitivity label option. For full classification functionality, including labeling and automated protections, be sure to use the desktop applications. To download the Microsoft Word and Excel desktop apps, follow these steps. Go to Microsoft365.com and sign in with your New York Tech credentials. In the sidebar, locate and click Apps. Then, in the top right of your screen, select Install Apps. A drop-down menu will appear. In this menu, click Microsoft 365 Apps. This will take you to the Office installation screen. Click Install to begin downloading Microsoft Office apps onto your device. After installation, open up the Word and Excel apps. You may be prompted to log in again using your New York Tech email. When handling documents in Microsoft Word, you can easily apply sensitivity labels, so your files are correctly recognized and protected. Open your Word document and navigate to the sensitivity icon on the Home tab. Look for the little shield or label icon. Click the icon to view available data classification options, typically pre-configured by New York Tech's IT department: public, restricted, and confidential. Select the appropriate label for your document. The label appears in the title bar and is embedded in document properties. Once labeled, the document may automatically enforce controls such as encryption, watermarking, or restricted sharing based on its classification. Excel spreadsheets often contain sensitive data, making classification especially important. Open the spreadsheet and select the sensitivity label from the toolbar, just as in Word. Apply the proper label. For example, a spreadsheet containing student grades should be marked confidential or restricted. Once labeled, actions such as copying, printing, or sharing may be limited according to New York Tech policy. Make sure all collaborators are aware of the classification and its implications for data handling. PowerPoint presentations discussing internal strategies, student data, or financial projections should be labeled appropriately. Open your PowerPoint file and click the sensitivity label in the toolbar. Choose the suitable label. For presentations discussing confidential research, choose confidential or restricted. The label is visible as you present and helps control distribution and access. Here are some best practices to keep in mind when labeling data. Always review the content before labeling and ask, what could happen if this data were disclosed? Consult New York Tech's data classification matrix if you are uncertain about which label fits best. If documents contain mixed data types, always label for the highest classification present. Recheck labels if you edit content or add new data that changes the sensitivity level. Copilot is Microsoft 365's integrated AI assistant that can help draft documents, analyze spreadsheets, create presentations, and much more. It leverages context from your files, emails, and chats to deliver personalized support. When using Microsoft Copilot, sensitivity labels and DLP work together to ensure that information is used responsibly. If a document or email is labeled restricted or confidential, Copilot automatically limits or blocks certain actions to prevent data from being shared inappropriately. Even without a label, DLP detects and protects sensitive information such as PII and PHI, stopping it from being processed or transmitted outside New York Tech's secure environment. In short, labeling your files and messages helps Copilot understand how to handle them, while DLP provides an added layer of protection behind the scenes. Together, they make sure Copilot enhances productivity without compromising security. Some best practices for using Copilot responsibly with sensitivity labels are: always label your documents before invoking Copilot's assistance. Be aware that Copilot's recommendations are context-driven. Ensure your file's labels accurately reflect its content. Review Copilot's suggestions for compliance. Do not accept automated actions that violate New York Tech's data handling policies. If Copilot flags a warning during your workflow, take time to assess whether the action is permissible given the classification. As we wrap up this training, let's review the most important points you should carry forward. These reminders will help you confidently apply data classification in your daily work and make the most of Microsoft 365 and Copilot. New York Tech's data classification matrix safeguards institutional data and aligns with regulatory requirements. Labeling documents in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint is simple, but vital for maintaining security. Copilot's advanced features work together with the labels you apply, supporting secure, efficient workflows. Always label documents before sharing, collaborating, or using Copilot. Additionally, remember that Microsoft's data loss prevention DLP system works automatically across all Microsoft products to identify and protect sensitive information such as PII and PHI, even if you forget to label it. Current features of data labeling will continue to improve, and ITS will notify the community of the data labeling improvements. Consult New York Tech's data governance team for clarification or support with classification and labeling. The practice of data classification and labeling is fundamental to protecting New York Tech's community members and reputation. With Microsoft 365, Copilot, and DLP, you have tools that enhance productivity while keeping data secure. Sensitivity labels are your signal and your safeguard, and DLP is your automatic safety net. By combining both, you ensure that compliance is maintained, collaboration thrives, and information stays protected. Thank you for participating in this training session. For questions or further guidance, please refer to New York Tech's official data governance resources or contact ITS.